like
It's
that,
Wed
it's Wednesday night.
just like that. Yeah, there we go. Now back
Yeah.
to that, right? All right,
Yeah.
go on and greet these fine people here.
Oh, it's fine folks that have jumped in here. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just starting to fill up now. Danny Boyd is a numero uno in tonight. Slant Daily Garage says, "What's up, suckers?" Sixth Street Garage, howdy all. Miss Cat G, Buff Del Campo, Tom Brown, hi, howdy, hello. Michael Schmidt is here. A Cove, Fab Race Mod Repeat, hello from Total Obscurity Motorsports Layer, or Layer, right? Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. KS Skyhawk, a question. Muscle Car Solutions with big ad for Slant Daily Garage. Does he owe you money or better? He likes your stuff, or you work with him?
No, Mr. Wilson is just an awesome dude. He's going to keep his profile low, and I'm the only one that knows who he is. So, yeah, no, he's just a good guy. Me and him are just good friends. He's kind of close, but not super close to my house. So we talk a lot, but we bounce ideas off of each other constantly. So he's just an awesome dude. So thank you there, Mr. Muscle Car Solutions. So.
Mohawk 62 is here. Danny Boyd, Mama M3, Bigfoots and Mopars. Mohawk 62. Let's see. Muscle Car Solutions is here.
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah. And then Kerosene Cucumbers, which is a totally bitchin' name on YouTube. That would be the last one for this evening. So,
wow.
Yeah, welcome to everyone that's jumped in here for our Wednesday night Tech Talk Live, which is the only tech show on YouTube where you're actually going to get tech answers to
real tech.
Yeah,
from car guys that actually know what they do. They actually build their own stuff, you know.
Yep.
So if you guys didn't notice, look right back here. That's a roll cage. So Plan Z is getting a cage. I'm putting that in this weekend. So yes.
Is it a cage or is it a just a bar?
It's an 8-point. So what would you call that? It's not an actual cage then. It just doesn't have the halo.
I think it's the start of the cage.
Yeah, it's missing just the halo and the 2 down bars. Other than that, it's an 8-point. So I'm getting ready to go fast in the car. Well,
see, I'm hoping that Slant 6 under boost makes a little bit more than the original Slant 6.
Yeah, I think this engine here. I wish I would have done one thing. I wish I would have put this engine in just the way it was delivered, and just see what it would do, so we could do an apples to apples comparison. But then I got in the car and I tested some things, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not going to do this. I'm going to make sure that's safe and then go down the track.
Let's see. Danny Boyd says, "I don't build, I cobble. Thank you." So,
right.
Yeah. Right. Well, so Wednesday, it's been a whole week since our last video.
Yeah.
And what's the big things that's happened this week for you?
Me, I went and saw the Southeast Gassers. That was actually really cool. We saw them at Jackson. I took my twins and we had an awesome time. We hung out with all the guys from Edelbrock. We had a huge compound there. It was really good. It was
sweet. So Edelbrock put that on, or the sponsors?
No. We just did it as a group. So like a lot of us wanted to go. A lot of us are racers, but we actually just wanted to go and watch a race this time. Like, instead of, because you never really get to see any racing when you're racing, because you're always working on your shit, and then you're getting back in lanes, and then you're going down the track, and you don't really get to just chill out and watch,
Yeah. No, I get it. It's like every time I go to a race, I mean, now I only go like once a year, right? To No Name Nationals at the moment. I mean, gosh, before that I was doing a weekend. Every weekend I was at a racetrack, but now it's just once a year I go to No Name Nationals. But let me answer KS Skyhawk's question here. Buick Valve Guide size OD. I'm assuming he means the ID of the guide.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. So for the 350, 455, 400, all those is 3/8. And then got the LS3 stem outside damper. I'm assuming you mean the valve stem itself, which is 8 millimeter. I don't know what that is in inches. It's a little bit smaller than 5/16, I think.
Yeah, it's really close. But it wiggles. So I do want to show one thing real quick. This was on the cam. So we were parked right at the finish line, right? And the twins, and they were doing a live stream, right? So I pulled up the live stream, and every time when the cars would go by, you could see us in the background, right? And I told my kids, I said, go up there and then put your arms out really wide. So I don't know if you can see them, but here's a picture of them. See them right there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's them on live stream. So this is the actual live stream. I took a screenshot of the live screen right there and of them on the camera, and they thought it was awesome because they're both waving their arms back and forth. So
they enjoy the stick shift drag racing the way it was in the 60s.
Yeah. In fact, Cash picked out a car. I actually posted a video of him because he was super excited when this one truck. It's called Odd Rod. It was a 302 with Cleveland heads on it.
Oh, sweet.
And tunnel ram, the whole bit, just, it was a truck. It was kind of chopped. It was a total gasser, right? And he just loved it. And so we were in there. We got pictures of them next to it. I got some pictures of it. I'll show you. But they were just stoked. And then when it ran, he won, and he was going to like the final round. And Cash was so excited because he was just like, he's going to the final round. But yeah, it's this guy right here, that truck. Right
there. Yeah, no, I've seen it before. It runs good too.
Yeah, so there he is inside there, right? And then Roxy was really stoked with it too, so she had to get in there. So yeah, it was good. And then just shenanigans like Cash was telling this guy to chug his beer, right? So he chugged his beer, and then the other guy goes, "Hey, Cash, you better chug your water." So Cash grabs the water, and as soon as he starts chugging, he squeezes the water, and he got an angry dragon. It came shooting right out of his nose, and that was the result. So yeah, we had fun. And we brought our bikes, and we got to ride around. It was fun.
Well, sweet. I'm glad you guys had a good time. Let's see. Bigfoots and Mopars says, any suggestions launching club cab long box full-time four-wheel drive with a grainy gear 4-speed and a carrier bearing in the rear drive shaft assembly and a drag strip?
Oh, any suggestions on launching? Oh yeah. That center support, put an extra couple bolts in there because they'll want to do this. Make sure that
those things, if it's a Ford truck, right, with a grainy gear 4-speed.
Yeah,
what's going to happen is that thing's got leaf springs over the axle. It's going to axle wrap so bad it'll probably shake your teeth loose.
Launch it in 4-wheel high. That way it doesn't do anything, because if it's a 4-wheel high, it's all 4 wheels are gonna go and it won't wrap anything.
Oh, probably not. I don't know. No. I guess that would be the case. I do know I've had a couple of them Ford trucks with the leaf springs over the axles, and man, do they freaking just knock your teeth loose when they start to axle wrap and then hop around everywhere. So Nodak Speed Shop is in the house saying aloha. See, Tom Brown says at work we have a 97 350 Vortec, has low compression on number 6 valves, ceiling cam, lifters, pistons look good. Any thoughts? Number 6
valve ceiling. So did you do a leak down? I'm assuming you did a leak down. I'm assuming you did all that stuff, and I'm assuming you did the quick trick to see if it was the rings or the valves just by squirting some oil in it. So if the compression came up when squirting oil, then you know it's the rings. If it didn't, then you know it's the valves.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Okay, I've had a couple of these Vortecs, and they all had the same problem where they would they would leak water out the gaskets, and then sometimes you would get lucky and it would leak out the back of the block. Sometimes you would get unlucky and it would leak into the intake port. And I'm kind of wondering if you may have just cooked the valve. May have just burnt an exhaust valve on this. That water does some justice on cleaning stuff, but it also will superheat the metal. So I don't know. That's kind of odd, but as many problems I've seen the Vortec engines have with the cylinder heads, I would have to say it's probably something to do with one of those leaking intake ports, and it's caused a problem.
Yeah, the Vortec heads kind of like the Magnum heads in a way. The Magnum heads will crack. They'll still keep running, but you'll get a little.
The Vortex cracks pretty bad too.
Yeah.
So it could be a crack in the combustion chamber as well too. I don't know. They're pretty prone to cracking as well. So,
MMM saying, smash your middle finger, Shane. I can only imagine how that felt. Yes, this right here, I smashed that about a month ago. I was actually working on this. It's actually when I was putting in the relocating the springs. When I did that video, I barely hit it, and I didn't even hit it here. I hit it down, way down here, and it went numb. And I was like, oh, okay, well then it went numb. I didn't feel it, and then this came, and it's just been growing ever since. So yeah, just is what it is.
So KS Skyhawk is saying all valve guides aren't the same outside diameter, are they? I don't know what you're killing me with this outside diameter thing. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, the stem diameter of the Buick V8 is 3/8 of an inch unless it's a 300. Okay, then it's 11/32. The stem diameter of an LS engine is 8 millimeter, which is a little bit smaller than 5/16. All valve guides are going to be a different size OD, right? But all you need to do is you take it to the machine shop and you give them your heads and say, install some valve guides for me, some bronze guides, and I'm going to use these 8 millimeter stem valves. And they'll hammer in the bronze and then drill it to the size that you need. They'll ream it to the size that you need. Because I'm sure there's it's got to be 2 to 3 thousandths slop in that guide, because it actually has to have some room for expansion because of heat. Otherwise, it will bind the valves in there. But I don't think all of them are the same. I don't know for a fact. I have no idea. This is just something I've been kicking around because I noticed that the LS53 valves were the same size as the Buick 350 valves. If you took it to the maximum size, you could with the Buick 350, which is a 192 intake and then 150 exhaust, I think. But
I literally cannot find that question. I've gone through this thing 10 times. I can't find that question.
706.
706.
Yeah.
I don't know. Still can't find it. Anyways.
No Deck Speed Shop says it's going to take them 1,000 years to get to 500 subs. I don't know if that. Are you guys making content on a regular basis? Try to keep the videos less than 13 minutes. And if you haven't already registered the No Name Nationals, and then let John know that you're registered. Well, John will know that you're registered, but have him start pushing your channel. I mean, there's been people that have made it to No Name Nationals with 500 subs that literally put no effort into it and did terrible and still ended up making it just because our community supported them so much.
Here's what I can tell you. I make more on shorts than I ever do on any videos. I'm just being real with you. If you did John's 30 days of 30 shorts, I'm telling you right now, you'll get your number and just make them good. Just anything, and you will get your numbers. I haven't put a video out in 2 weeks, but I've been putting shorts out there, and I'm still getting just as much views, just as much everything. It's almost like people don't want to watch videos anymore. They just want some shorts.
Huh. Well, so Michael Schmidt's saying that 97 350, the Vortex stuff, is that the head gaskets and intake gaskets are the weak spots on those engines. So it could be a head gasket. I didn't know that they had a problem with the head gaskets. Yeah,
I think it's just the factory head gaskets, and then the intake gaskets. And where those bolts come down at, they just tend to leak. I do know there's issues with them. I don't remember the exact things on them. So I guess Tom Brown said we popped out the valves on that hole and they look clean, no burnt, no color. So we're kind of stumped.
Start looking at head gasket.
Yeah.
Or it could be something stupid. Okay. Shane had water get into a cylinder one time and it cracked the cylinder.
Yes.
Right.
It cracked it down at the bottom too. So it never really uncovered it. So the piston was always there, but it was when the piston went down to the bottom, it just uncovered enough to put steam out there. And then when the piston came up, just a little bit was showing, and it was shooting hot steam right onto the rod.
Yeah, that's the only way he found it, was that the rod was discolored. The engine was down on power, but it wasn't like you pull the plugs, they'd look okay.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just because it was uncovering it at the very bottom of the stroke.
Yeah.
It'd just be down on power, I think, because of the water.
Yeah. And when you see down power, it dropped like 2/10, I think is what it was. Down to 10th or 10th and a half, maybe 2/10. But it was, you still start idles. It sounds fine. And you're not pressurizing it. There's not water shooting out of anywhere. Just, it was almost like, do I even take this thing apart? But then when I did, I'm glad I did.
Huh. Okay. So Bear Rose is saying that Vortex suffer from not having those 4 center bolts. He's talking about in the intake. Good fix is to have your machinist drill and tap them back in. I believe Edelbrock makes an intake gasket for that mod as well.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's a big thing. We know that. That's a big issue because they just have those 4 outer ones.
And those things have always suffered from water leakage issues and Vortex from when they were new. They were pretty bad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they used to have I remember at one point in time in probably 2002, 2003, you could have bought one of those Chevy trucks with a Vortec in it for probably pennies on the dollar. Less than $1,000 you could have got one because they were everywhere. They sold a zillion of them, but they all had the same problem. They all had they'd start leaking water. People would overheat them. They'd run them out of water. They'd crack the heads. They'd tear up the block. The good thing about a Chevrolet is they got enough meat in the engine block that you can pretty much overheat them and then let them cool off and fix whatever stupid thing is causing it to get hot, and they'll run for a long time after that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the time frame here. So we got 27. We got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 weeks to that. That's to the Wednesday before the No Name Nationals.
Wow. Oh man. Well, yeah, it's flying by.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be good to see everyone again. Let's see.
I
Main
know.
Street
I'm looking
Mopar
forward
says I got another free cam, brand new in box. Crowler 32-415 solid roller.
Where's this at?
Main Street Mopar 717.
717. Why is this thing just not working today?
I don't know.
I don't
Seems
know.
to be pretty fine for me, I guess. I'm just reading them.
Huh. Well, I don't see it. Oh, here we go. Got another cam 32. What is that?
415 solid roller. I don't know.
I'm gonna
You
go to
look it up real
Crowler.
quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up real quick. When it gets up here, what's the number again?
32-415.
Okay, that is a big block Chrysler, and it is duration at 50s 261, 263 on a 105 LSA. Wow.
Rowdy.
Yeah, and it's a low lift type of deal. It's a 457, 461. So you could put that on a cast iron head type of deal. I think. Oh, I remember these. This is one of those. This is a shelf cam. This is a 300R cam. Yeah, so this is one that was designed just for your solid, and type of deal. It's a roller that you can put on your cast iron engine. So if you have say 906 heads and you wanted something that sounded really boogity, there you go.
So
that thing's gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that thing's gonna talk to you.
Oh, she's gonna be rowdy. No Deck Speech App says supposedly YouTube algorithms want the videos to find the viewer, then try to match you to people with the same interest. I don't try to game the algorithm at all. I just put the content out there, and if people watch it, they watch it. If they don't, they don't. But generally, what happens is whenever somebody watches it, generally if they have friends or family members or associates that watch the same content, it just gets proposed to them, and usually the videos do pretty good. I don't try to game the numbers or nothing like that. What you got to do, Nodak, is you need to make content every day. You need to have a video, not a short. I mean, shorts can gain you some stuff, right? They can gain you. We've heard of people getting 500 subs in just a couple of afternoons doing shorts, right? But the majority of us don't work that way. You got to put in the effort. You got to do the time. You got to do the grind. You got to make the videos. You can't, if you're trying to make it to No Name Nationals, you cannot go one day without having a video.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you
look at Buff Del Campo. I mean, he did the I think he's coming up on 6,000 now. I think he just hit 6 or 7. I can't remember. But he was doing that 30 days to 30 shorts, and look where he's at. I mean, he knocks them out. Oh, speaking of which, here he goes, Shane. Are you in top chat or live chat? I have no idea. I'm on
live.
whatever comes up on the screen. Yeah, I think it's live. Oh, I think that's why. Yeah, I think you know what he's talking about. Give me a second. Yes, I was in top chat. That's why I couldn't find anything. So thank you for that. I'm in live chat now. Now they're actually in order. Because you were saying 706, and I didn't have a number. It just everything was all wonky.
Oh,
Yeah. So thank you for that, Buff, because I didn't yeah. No Duck Speech Up. You can do it anytime you want. There just aren't 30 days left before the race. You can double up and see what happens. Release one in the morning and one in the evening. I would agree with that.
I would also look at. I'm looking at one of your No Deck Speech Ups post at this next one down. No Deck Speech Up at 7:21 says, "Dizzy, a lot of content coming on 53 Chryslers." Okay,
Yep.
This is something that is going to get. It's probably already getting you in trouble if that's what you're doing. This is not going to translate well to many people,
No.
right? You want to do broad topic stuff. You want to do things that just about anyone can do, right? Preferably, you would want to do something that anyone can do that nobody else has done. Okay, those are the big ones. I had this thing called the Hobo Parts Cleaner. I've been doing it for a long time. It's literally just like a plastic tub with some parts cleaner stuff in it and some hot water and cleaning parts. Dude, that thing got a bunch of views just because people don't know that you can just literally make your own parts cleaner at home.
Yeah.
I just use the furniture dolly and that thing in like 20 gallons of water and voila. But if you narrow it, the problem is that that topic, the 53 Chrysler, is so narrowed. You take an entire community that's got Model A's all the way to Ferraris and Lamborghinis and import stuff and all that, and you've narrowed it down to the Mopar group, and then you went to the 53 Mopar, which is like this big. Right?
This many people, right?
If you're only getting 22 views, that's probably how many people are interested in that content.
Yeah, on all of YouTube, right? Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm not busting your balls. I'm just letting you know this is the stuff that you learn when you do the Content Creators Workshop with John Wilburn. That you'll want to do topics that are fairly broad. You know, brakes. You know, don't talk about your 53 Chrysler brakes because they were the first things in the world, I think, to have disc brakes. Wasn't it something like that? 53, 55. One of those Mopars that generation was the first thing in the world to have like disc brakes. And they were goofy looking. But don't get wrapped around the axle about what you have. You also need to title it right. If you're doing 53 Chrysler stuff, label it Mopar. That way it'll come up amongst the entire sea of Mopars.
That's right.
Right? And everybody will click on it and then they'll go, oh, this is not what I'm looking for. And they'll move on to the next thing. But you still get the view within 2 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
So it needs to be titled correctly. But right now, what I think you've done is you've narrowed yourself into a small
Little
niche
box.
group, and
Little
you're not
box.
going to get many views. The other thing that I can tell you right now is absolutely detrimental to you getting all the views and the subs. Do not do anything political or your personal views on stuff. It polarizes your audience. You can almost immediately eliminate half of them.
Exactly.
So don't do
Right
that. There's people that have been guilty of that, and you got to shake your head going, what are you doing? You know, you're trying to put out content. You don't have, no one cares about your political views. You know, you're a YouTube content creator. You're not a politician, you know? So
me too. Right. And that's why whenever, when someone asks me a question, I always say, in my opinion, or, you know, this is what I found. I'm very, very, because it's not the rule. It's not the law, because this is just what's happened for me. So, you know, just say things like that. And it usually keeps it calm. So that way you're like, well, that didn't happen. My friend's friend of a nephew's uncle, you know, whatever. But here's a good one too, right here. I know Doc saying 100% what Dallas said. Make an honest 5 to 10 minute video every day for the next 3 weeks, and you should get it done. Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's one. Mexican Specs got a great one. A morning short is for the U.S. viewers, and the evening shorts is for the European viewers. I didn't think of that. So there you go.
I don't even know if I have European viewers. I haven't looked at any of my statistics in so long. I get lots of Australia, lots of New Zealand,
Yeah.
a lot of US. I don't get so much from like Europe, and which
No,
is weird because I do like all my stuff is the same engine as the Rover, right? And
yeah.
you would think I'd get a lot more views, but nah,
I
not
actually get a lot of like Brazil, Australian, but because of the Slant Six stuff, so it's really popular over there. I guess I don't know. So Mean Street saying, Professor B, someone gave me a Mopar Performance book, engine book, the 8th edition that covers all engines except for the Magnums. So I'm not sure when the 8th edition came out, but it's probably before the Magnums came out or anything roller.
90,
Yeah.
91. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be. I would say probably pre 90 because I think they were kind of doing the hydraulic rollers. They're crossing over in like 87, 88. I think is
Oh,
when
really? When did the Magnum actually hit the market?
91, I believe.
Oh, dang. I thought they were like later than that. I thought they were like 93 or 4.
No, it was like 91, 92. And then they got, I think, obliterated in 2003. I think is when the Hemi came out. I don't remember the exact dates, but yeah. So here, no Dax thanking you. So there you go, Dallas. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. And what's funny is like Bear Rose down here is giving you
Right here.
some advice. Best advice I have for you is building your channel as consistent uploads. And what's funny is I think the very first year of No Name Nationals was when Bear Rose started their channel just to come to No Name Nationals. And I gave him the same advice I just gave you 3-4 years ago. And it absolutely killed it, and it was like, this is just basic. I don't worry about don't get wrapped around the axle on the analytics, all that stuff. Try to stay your videos no longer than 13 minutes. You want like literally 12 minutes and before, really. You want to upload consistently. So every day you got to do at least one video, right? The other thing is, don't worry if a video doesn't get a lot of views. You can go in there and change the title. The title and the tags are what allows the algorithm to find your video and apply it to the people that watch those videos. All right. If you're doing it on a Chrysler, don't just put Chrysler. You put Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth, all of them a separate hashtag, Mopar, and you spell it any way you possibly can. All caps, all lowercase, big M,
Space them. Yeah.
low Opar.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, you want to hit as many people as possible that hit all those videos.
Here's no
usually
challenge accepted.
Let's see. Buffed Up Campo says he has worldwide viewers.
Yeah, I saw that. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't really look at my analytics. I really, honestly, I'm not doing it to be a YouTuber. I really am not. I'm really, if you look at my thing, it's just to document my builds. That's all it really is. That's all I'm having fun with.
I do it just because I enjoy it. Like
Me too.
I don't enjoy so much the side of YouTube and editing. I enjoy making the videos and then get the feedback. But what really sucks is out of like I'll tell you the dark side of YouTube. Okay. You could post a video up and you'll have like 50 accolades, right? Like, this is so awesome. I've never seen this before. And why is people not do videos like this that are, helpful and informational? And then you get one asshat that's like, dude, your chromosomes should have been cut off at your birth. And
your dad didn't have a pullout game,
Yeah, like, dude, what in the fuck does that got to do with the video I made?
Right?
If you're just going to be mad and shitty at people, just like see yourself out, Do you have to leave a comment? Does the world have to know how miserable and unhappy you are?
When I did those videos for the oiling for the solid roller cams, right? There was a guy in there who came in and was like, well, that you could just, machine and put lifter bores, in these things, bushings in these. And I'm like, the whole point of this says that what you can do at home with home tools, right? That was the point of it. he says, well, you could just go and do this. I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not the point of the video. I didn't have that kind of money, and it's literally $8 a hole to do those. And by the time you add up all 16 of them plus the bronze and doing all that stuff, you're almost at like $800 or $900 just to get those lifter bushings put in. You could do this for under $100 at home and some patience. That's drill bits included. So
yeah, and people. That's what I think. That's the thing I hate about YouTube, and unfortunately, what it is like the 50 accolades. I'll feel good about myself, and then I'll read the one post from the guy that wants me to freaking die and stop breathing, and you're like, man, I feel terrible about myself as a human being, and I don't know what would possess people to do that. I mean, I have never in my life went on a video and just hammered somebody, even if their stuff sucked. It's like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's kind of like, my mom used to tell me that when I was a kid, right? Like, and it still kind of applies as an adult. Maybe, I don't know, maybe what it is being older. I mean, if I would have said that to somebody's face, I would have got my teeth knocked out, right? So maybe that's what needs to happen more.
Here's another good one. Read this one, because this is what you told Bear Rose.
Oh, best advice Dallas gave me was how to do a video every day at 8 a.m. and only working on my car or on the car on Sunday, my only day off. Shoot 6 videos in one day and schedule them to come out on each day. Oh yeah, I did tell him that. So, but I suck at putting up videos anymore. Since this whole divorce started, I literally like fell off the planet. But I should have done that. I should have shot a bunch of videos and just upload them.
I did that a couple times. I actually made 3 videos in one weekend, and I just had them sitting there, and I was just releasing them because I've got kids, and my kids want to go out camping and stuff, so I don't have all the weekends. That's why there's been no videos. Me and the kids went out and we went racing to the races last weekend. The weekend before we went camping, and we went to this place called Roundabout in Oxford. So we've had fun, but yeah, can't always get out car stuff. So
see, Fab Race My Repeat says, Dallas, let's not forget the novel writing correctors of everything. Right. Yeah, no matter what you do, if you're the first person to do it, you're never the first person to do it, because that person's already done it before. Yes. And they've got cliff notes, and they'll tell you where you screwed up and what you could have done better. But you'll never see that guy have a YouTube channel
ever,
be at the track. Maybe that's what it should be, is like, put your money where your mouth is, pal. I'll be at No Name Nationals. You know exactly where I'm going to be at what date. You show up with your junk and you blow my doors off, I guess you were right.
And here's Mexican Spec, because this is what I say. I need a few haters. They raise the views. They don't get under my skin anymore. I just say, thank you for watching. Thanks for your input, and thank you for watching, because whatever it is.
I don't care. From now on, it's like, hey, thanks. Don't forget to click
like and subscribe button. Yeah, right. That's literally what I do. Thank you for watching, and they just want to. They get so mad. They're like, "Is that all you can say? Thanks for watching." It's like,
see, that's what I found is those people that are the haters are the ones that turn into your lifelong haters, right? Like once you hurt their ego, they literally pound you every time you put a video up, even if they have no idea what they're talking about. They'll say something to shit on you, and then it'll become personal. So that's when it's like, oh, I've made it. I'm actually a YouTuber now. This guy has no idea what I'm doing, but he just tells me how much of a horrible human being I am. So now it's personal.
So John Murphy saying the Hemi was 2004. So 03 was the last year of the Magnum then. So perfect.
Let's see. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I told a commenter to screw off on my music channel, like of the big winner who wanted to try to bring me down. There's a lot of people like that. I guess it's just misery loves company. If they're not happy with themselves, they got to crap on everyone else.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep up, so I'm down at the bottom here. Mean Streets, Professor B, I'm looking for a set of solid roller lifters for my 440. Do you have any recommendations? Well, is this going to be a street driven vehicle, or is this race car stuff? If it's Comp Cams actually has some really, really good some lifters. I actually have some right here on the shelf here, and they work really well. and they're not as expensive as some of the other companies. So I would say that I would be looking at some of the comp cams lifters for those.
Let's see.
And right now we do have, you guys have that discount still going on, and I think the
Yeah,
discount
right.
we're getting close to the next level, so I think they're going to be going WD here soon.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah, because it's a collective group thing. So and there's been a rash of spending lately, so people are getting ready. There was a lull, like when we first opened it up, there was this massive rush for like 2 months, right? Then it lulled out, and then now there's this massive rush again. So
Let's see. Dust Devil Garage says brake tech question 3/16 or 1/4 inch brake line.
3/16.
Yeah, I always smaller. You don't need volume,
Mm-mm.
right? You need pressure, and smaller diameter leads to higher pressure.
That's right, and that way you don't have to move much. You have to, because everything's got weight. So
I saw a video the other day. I'm trying to think of where I saw that at, and I wanted to ask this question because I'd never seen this before, and I'm like,
mhm.
to me, it's like no bueno, but um, I saw it on a YouTube video. They had like all new lines they were going to put on the car. They were coppered lines,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, coppered line for a brake? There's no way that thing would rupture. But does somebody know something I don't? I mean, copper line is not meant for anything over like 10 pounds.
Yeah, it's not made for, well, super high
Well,
pressure.
I
I
guess
mean,
I'd be like 200 pounds would probably be the ideal or the maximum. But, I don't know. I just never would have thought brake lines out of copper. Now, they won't rust out, but
they will corrode.
I'm certain they would split.
Yeah,
The
I think
pressures
what
of
they
a
would.
brake system are like 500-600 pounds.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. Yeah, I don't think I would do that, because a copper line, I would do it on oil, and that's maximum, 100 psi or lower. I've seen copper lines on transmission. In fact, I had the one out of Plan Z, and that's about 190 pounds. When you're going full load on that. But man,
I think going through the cooler is only like 80 though, right?
yeah, that's right. When it's only going through the cooler, it's only 80. Yeah, so I'm with you on this. I wouldn't do that.
I saw that. I'm like, no way this guy's literally going to use copper line for brake lines. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I've seen some junk at SEMA that was just like, what are you doing?
No Deck Speed Shop saying he loves the Magnum engines. If you really love Magnum engines, I've got a few recipes. I gave them to John. They're for 360s. It's what I used to build like right around 2000, 2001, 2002, because they were really cheap out of the wrecking yard, and they'd make 450 horse, and it's a really easy combination. It gives you all the part numbers, the carburetor, even the settings and everything. So really, one is like 450, then was like 460 horse, and with really easy stuff. So it's probably something I'm probably going to build for a Triple Crown or something. I don't know. Me and Dallas were talking about that, so well, keep that on there.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Well, since you brought it up,
Yep.
yeah. Well, of course, this year Shane and I won't be able to run Triple Crown, but I think
Yep.
next year, I think we're both going to try to be at Triple Crown.
Yeah. In fact, Dallas talked me into this. So this car is going to be a Triple Crown car now. And it makes sense because it's going to be light enough. I'll probably have to add weight to it. And I've got a couple engines to choose from. And in fact, I've got that 904 transmission right there that's got the king of the valve bodies, Mr. John Coke's #1, very first valve body in it. And it's got a whole bunch of really awesome parts in it. And then me and Dallas were thinking about, Dallas brought up a really good point that the Sega started with 2 cars, right? They were basically racing and everyone loved it. Well, what if we got into a race, because everybody gets so priced out of this no prep or 530 or 60 class? What if people could actually race a heads up class with the rules and actually race with what they have? And if we went around and just showed people, hey, you can race in this class heads up with the junk that you already have, just kind of got to, feel it out. And it's still kind of wide open to have some fun. So I think it's going to be awesome. So we're going to try to get to a few different races Knoxville, maybe, just around, come back to Sykeston, Holly Springs. Oh,
George Ray's.
George Ray's. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That'd be
I thought it'd
fun.
be kind of cool to go over to George Ray's.
Yeah.
I mean, these cars aren't going to be super fast. So, let's see. Barrow says, speaking of discounts for the No Name Nationals, I need to get the order in for another pair of 1405 Edelbrocks. Wow, I got
Perfect.
a mosquito.
You got a mosquito in the
It
house?
was attacking me right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, they've been terrible all freaking week.
Really, man, we've actually been really good here this year. Last year was terrible, but this year we've been really good. He's Bobby's saying I need another VRS for this 48 now that it's running. Okay, yeah, yeah,
Sweet. I didn't even know you got it running. You didn't send me a message.
yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad it's running. That's awesome. I got a VRS on the Cookie Monster now. I got a 950 on there, and it's well, I can't tell you much about it, but it's doing pretty good. I had a problem with the trans brake. We went up there to go do some testing, and I hit the button on the trans brake, and I put it to the floor, and the car leaped forward, and I had no trans brake. And then I come back around, and the back of the trans brake literally blew out. So, yeah, the little piston. So
here's some answers here. Danny Boyd say NICOP, so nickel copper line, I guess. So it's an alloy of nickel and copper, which I didn't know about. I've always just seen steel essentially, but I've never bought any high end brake lines. I was just floored because it looked like copper line. I'm like, man, that's way too soft, But yeah, NICOP, I guess, is the thing. And then Jay Malone saying British cars used copper lines in the '60s. My TR3 had them. So
yeah, and he's saying no copper brake lines, no bueno.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's that mosquito. I got him.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Here he is.
Yeah, I'm a little behind.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm a little behind. They were talking about all this. Oh, here we go. Tech question. Perfect. There we go.
Okay. 38 Racing. Holly 3310-2 750 CFM vacuum secondary runs rich throughout the range. I can lean idle out. Tip in was lean until I upped the nozzle size. What should I look at to lean it out? Just jet down?
Well, I would start jetting it down.
Yeah, well, this is a vacuum secondary carb, right? So does it have a power valve in the front? And then the second one, the secondary is run by the vacuum pod, right?
That's right. Yep. So it's going to have power valve. So I would look at the power valve first, make sure it's not blown, and then start jetting it down. And then look at the power valve too. Is if it's like a 4.5, or if it's really late, that would definitely make it
rich.
That would definitely make it lean, because if it's too high of a number, it's gonna bring the power valve in sooner. So like on when I put Hollies on my Slant 6, I had to put the power valve down to like a 2.2, 2.5 or a 3.5, and that makes it happen really late in the power band before it turns on. So just look at where it's turning on at. If it's like, say, an 8.5, that could be half your problem, is that as soon as it dips below the 8.5, that power valve's on. So try that first, and then start looking at the jet.
I bet the power valve is blown out.
Yeah. Yeah, more than likely. I agree.
Yeah, and then if the power valve is not blown out, I would find the recommendation for that, because that carburetor is essentially 3310, which was a 780 that came on Z28 DZ302. I would probably start at a recommendation, like depending on what you're building. But I would find probably the baseline for that carburetor, and that's what I would put it back to.
Start there. Yeah. Vintage Adventure Drives. After No Name Nationals this year, my satellite is getting retired from racing, and I'm focusing on the Scam.
It's going to be a big block.
It's going to be a big block, car forever, though. I'm going to get this 1 year for Triple Crown. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, then make it count. Dude,
that sucks, because that means next year we won't be duking it out with you.
Yeah, because the first year I didn't want to bring in my car the first year, but I was going to bring the Cookie Monster and put something in it, but I just didn't want to. But next year I'm definitely going to be in the Triple Crown, because it sounds just like what I want to run. I love that kind of stuff. George Ray's is the only attraction Arkansas has for me, dude. I would have to say that I've been to Newport drag strip is actually pretty cool. And you want to talk about like street racing? Newport is like street racing. There's holes in the drag strip, so you can get down track at Newport. You can get down pretty much any track. Oh, yeah. Apparently, Thunder Valley Raceway Park is back open. Maybe they can bring the Triple Crown to my neck of the woods. That's a haul. I'm going to try to stay around here.
Yeah, we're going to do something local first before we, throw $600-700 in tow money.
Yeah, and also too, like I was telling Dallas, once we get there and we find out who showed up with Triple Crown cars, we're going to kind of get an idea of where they're at, and that way we can kind of make the racetracks in that general area, so nobody's driving way out of their way.
So, I'm doing this the same reason that Professor P is. Like, I'm trying to build a car that I think is fun for the fan and fun for me, right? Like, I don't care if it's the fastest thing out there. I don't care if it does big wheel stands or not. I care about the fun level. Should be like, I should be excited to drive the car and had an enjoyable weekend, win, lose, or draw. Right. And that's the whole idea.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing too, is that like me and Dallas have always talked about this. I had more fun with a car that ran 13s to like 11s. I had more fun in my car when it did that. As soon as it got into the 10s, it just became more work than driving, and 13s to 11s was all nitrous. So basically I'd run 13s with nitrous. I'd run, low 11s. So Professor B, I have a set of comp cams with solid rollers. They have some scuffing on the body of the lifter. Should I be worried about that? If you send me some pictures, spulido at edelbrock.com. Once again, SPULIDO@edelbrock.com. Send me some pictures there and I'll take a look at it and then just kind of show me how deep they are. But usually you can kind of polish those out. And if it doesn't come up, but if it's going down, I wouldn't worry about it. It's just going to increase some of the oil usage as far as leakage there when they go down. But as long as they're not terrible and they still move up and down lifter boards, I really wouldn't worry too much about it. But I definitely would prime the engine with those lifters in it and just see how much leakage you're going to get, because one little score makes a huge amount of oil
pressure loss. Yeah,
a lot of pressure loss. So on the big blocks, luckily, you can put a little restrictors in some of those areas and you can kind of control some of that. But yeah, just be aware of that.
Indecisive Garage here at 743 is saying that copper nickel brake lines are DOT approved and can handle 5,900 PSI.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Nope.
I never even I just saw like brake line and it's like a roll of copper. Like, get the heck out of here. That's what I used to plumb my refrigerator with. It's not really what I would think would be strong.
Andy's in here.
Is he?
Yeah, there he is right there. See if
360 Jimmy is saying that how you doing, boys? Watch him from work. Sweet, getting paid and entertaining.
Right?
Well, we'll see how entertaining it is.
Here he says that my satellite will be a high 13-second car once I get the 60 dialed in. Dude, I'm telling you, if I could bring my car back to that level to where I could just get in it, fire it up, turn the radio back on, drive down, and then go light the light, not have to worry about it, dude, I would be that all day long. That would be so much fun for me again.
38 Racing saying, shouldn't a blown power valve flood at idle too? Yep.
Yes. But so that's
on your vacuum secondary, it's probably blown. If it's ever backfired, that's every Holly I ever got. I've only had 2. And every single one I ever got had a blown power valve when you get it. I mean, like, it was like, I think they come that way. I don't know. I've never had a new one out of the box. So
here's a good one. I've got a torque converter from about 1986 Buick Regal V6 turbo, not the Grand National.
If they're the turbo V6 Buick from 86, it's the same engine.
Oh, same engine. It says, might that torque converter be okay from our 455 project that I'm building? That's definitely going to be a high stall.
It would be a high stall to that. But see, the Grand National, they made about 300.
Yeah, they didn't have the torque though. See, they made the horsepower.
They made tons of torque,
but higher in the RPM.
5 horse and then like 320 foot-pounds of torque. it would be a higher stall in your 455 because your 455 is going to be instant torque, like
Torque. Yep.
2500, like
Exactly.
boatloads of it. That turbo V6 Buick didn't really have boatloads of torque off idle. I mean, it did have the torque. I'd run it to see where it's at, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be too much stall for the street. But you know what? With that camshaft in there, you're going to need a stall converter anyway.
Yeah, I would just put it in there and see what happens. If it's free, it's free. It'd work,
Free 99 is always my favorite price.
Free 99, is that what you said?
Yeah, free 99.
I like that. That's good. Tim, I'm in the bathroom work right now. That's awesome. Oh man, picking out. That's a magic picking. What's the magic picking a PV?
Oh, that's just a spring, isn't it? I'm telling you, man. Find out what the factory settings on this thing were, and then just take it right back to whatever the factory settings were, and then start from there.
Oh, is he talking about the power valve?
Yeah, the power valve.
Oh, okay. Okay, here's the magic: is that usually this is a good starting point. Take a vacuum of the engine when it's idling, its highest vacuum. So let's just say it's making 15 inches. Divide that in half, and then that's usually where you start on your power valve. So 7.5 is where you should start. If you got a bigger cam, let's just say it's idling at, say, 1100, it's putting a little bit more vacuum, but it's a big cam. So instead of at 7.5, you start it a little later, 6.5. That means the engine has to get to 6.5 inches of vacuum, and then that's when it's going to turn on. The lower the number, the later it turns on. So, and if you have a bigger engine, say a bigger carb on an engine that it's not really needed, you put it really far down there so that way it doesn't flood it out, because as soon as those valves open, that pressure is going to drop and it's going to open them up. So the only magic is just getting it's half of whatever the engine's idling at is a good starting point. That's just a starting point.
But just double garage saying, do you guys think of Triple Crown as a streetcar class? No, but many streetcars could enter it. The whole idea was when Shane and I came up with the idea of the class, the reason why it's called the Triple Crown is because it was based around 333 cubic inches and 3,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. And we figured almost any hot street or full-blown race car could fit in that category as long as it met the weight and cubic inch requirements.
Yeah, and if you do the math on it, that really comes out to any Nova, any Dart, any Mustang really will fit in the class. Camaro. It'll fit in the class.
A billion cars that fit in that.
Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of cranks out there making strokers, but most of the guys, and especially in our group, have a 360 or whatever, and just put it in there and then run it. And 450 horse is going to get it done. You're going to be in the running with something like that.
Well, okay, so I'll give you guys an idea of where we came up with the 333 cube thing. The idea was I was building the EZ302, and I was looking for parts on Marketplace, and I saw that a 327 steel crank for like $50. Okay, and it got me thinking, like, you know what? With the influx of the cheap Chinese stroke crankshaft that just about anybody could buy for $200, has left some of the best merchandise sitting off to the side for nothing. And we were like, man, you know what? You could build a hairy ass 327 Chevy for like nothing these days, because the crank, the stroker crank has just outdone all that stuff. It's undone.
And the LS. Well, think about it too. Same with Mopars. The Hemi has basically brought the price of all the small blocks. Anything small block is just fallen because the Hemi. Same with the Chevrolet. The LS has literally just killed that market.
Yep. And so we're thinking, man, what if we put together a class? You could put together a cheap engine,
yep, right,
and you could put it in a fairly cheap car. I mean, you don't have to get a Nova. I mean, think of it like this. You could go find a Nova, but the Novas are probably out of your price range, to be honest with you. If you're running this class, Nova's probably buying one is probably out of your price range. The best thing you're going to do is try to find a 4-door Nova or a Monza or a Vega, and then you could run that 327 cubic inch combo, and it would probably be pretty healthy.
Mhm.
But that was the idea, was to put together kind of like right in the middle of
Mhm.
cost effective cars, you know. But
So
there
All
was,
Primer,
yeah.
All Primer's bringing up something. He goes, "Hello everyone. I'm looking for a Carter BBS for my 70s Slant 6 to replace my Holly 1920. Any leads where to get one?" Look, I've done this. I've done this many times, and I just go down and get one off of a 318, and then just change the jets out. And literally, it's bolt on, and it runs good. Now, on a stock Slant 6, it's going to be way over carbureted. But if you put, like, say, dual Dultra duals on it, or say headers, it literally goes right on there, and you don't have to do any jetting to it. It runs great with a decent cam. I personally love the Holly 1920 because they're indestructible carburetors, and they always seem to work no matter what. And my wife's car, I rebuilt it, and I did that almost 7 years ago, and I've never touched it since. And cars always starts. So that's where I would start out, is getting one of those. Oh, Andrew's in here. The Nelsons are here. How's it going, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I was just looking at Tom Brown had a question on a Turbo 350 400. You can weld the governor weights to make it manual. Do you need to do anything else to the valve body to match? Man, I've never heard of that.
No, I've never heard of that either.
I don't know.
I don't know, but well,
I could, because it would not route pressure past the spool valve of the inside the governor.
I've heard of people changing the springs in them. In fact, I know they make spring kits for those.
They do,
but I've never heard of anyone welding those.
I've never heard of that either, and it would keep that spool valve from operating. So I bet it would keep it in gear. It would no longer allow it to shift. But man, I'm kind of wondering.
Tom, I'm going to check into that. That's something. I'm going to take a screenshot of this real quick. And I know somebody who's been doing this for 50 years. So I will ask this question tomorrow, and I'll let you know.
Well, what I'm thinking is this: it's like, okay, the higher the pump pressure, the faster it shifts. Okay, the snappier the transmission shifts. So if it's manual and you've welded the governor shut, it still has the automatic General Motors programming for low pressure. I think the best thing would be take that pump regulating spring out and put something in there that's like beefier, like from a Transgo kit or something. So that way it is snappy when you throw it into the next gear, and it doesn't just slide right in there for that, economy or family friendly ride. If you're wanting to make it full manual and that's the whole goal, I would up the pump pressure on it at a minimum.
Yeah. A Vintage Adventure Drive saying he's taking his Triple Crown to work tomorrow.
That's cool. It won't be too many years from now, and nobody will be able to say that ever again.
Yeah. Right. That's kind of the idea. So on a TH400, is there any easy shift mods that you guys can remove on double check balls, white trash? Motorsports gave me a good video to do something with a TH350. Dude, I'm telling you, the best thing is get one of those trick shift. What's the name of that company? You just said it.
B&M?
No, not B&M. It was
Oh, Transgo.
Transgo. Yeah, Transgo.
Yeah.
Yeah, get one of those, man. Those things work awesome, and they're really easy, and they're inexpensive, and they just work. They just flat out work. Oh, right. Yeah, I'd rather have a real 327 Chevy Forge crank. I agree with you, and they're cheap now.
With you, man, and it's like you can get them for like $50 or $100 now.
Yeah,
that's what was like. It got me to this idea, like, man, that crankshaft is what they used in. Hold on a second, junior fuel dragsters. It ran nitromethane on a naturally aspirated small block Chevrolet with Hilborns, and that would be the crank they ran. I don't know why somebody would sell that for so cheap.
Yeah. So, KF Skyhawk saying, I'm running a locking torque converter. My factory GM part number DS rated 2024 RPM if installed. My stall is closer to 2400-ish behind my wannabe and maybe be bad small block Buick. Well, that's cool. Yeah, 2,400. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's actually pretty high. I didn't think it was going to get that much stall out of it. If the
Yeah,
factory were,
that's really good. In fact, that's really good. And then with the lockup, that's the whole point of
that's
doing
even
this here is
better.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that way you drive around, you lock it up, all the heat goes away.
Yeah. Well, you get into third gear and lock that sucker up on a drag strip. Well, actually, you can get in second gear and lock it up
And
on a
then lock
drag
it.
strip and it'll
Yeah.
freight train down the top end.
And then that's the perfect time to start hitting that nitrous. Bam, hit the nitrous right there.
But this guy has a Skyhawk with a 350 Buick in it. So, I mean, it's already pretty fast, I'm sure. I mean, the car doesn't weigh jack crap. It's the size of a Monza.
No Dax saying that Gen 3 Hemi killed the 318 and 360 values. The 340 still brings a premium. 3 blocks are for sale for $150 on Facebook Marketplace around here and don't sell. That's exactly right. In fact, I've seen 340s sell around here in my area for $300. Now they're not the steel crank ones, they're the cast crank ones, but then you can get a 318 that was made in like say 68 that's got the steel crank in it. Put it into the 340. Now you've got a steel crank 340. I agree with you, man. And that was the whole point of this, and that's exactly what me and Dallas talked about: is that you can get this stuff cheap nowadays. Look up what a 302 Ford's going for now. They're literally
dude, you can get a whole like takeout motor for less than $100, probably.
yeah. And Dallas just told me this morning there's a 301 turbo.
Pontiac 301 turbo for $400.
Yeah, with the turbo, the whole thing
With
on
the
it.
turbo and the whole all the exhaust and everything on it.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and so the LS has pretty much killed this. I ran into this. Oh man, I'll tell you the most heartbreaking thing. Okay, so my super stock Buick, the heads that are on it, my dad and I put our heads together and made this set of cylinder heads in 1998. In 2000, I paid to have them like made, and it was like $2,300. Okay, and then it's like, I was in the Navy. I was changing home port every time, and every 2 years, 3 years, I was transferring somewhere else. And those cylinder heads just sat. And while they sat, TA Performance came out with an aluminum head that could be ported and have 312 CFM on the intake side.
Wow.
And my head went to like worth nothing overnight. That was like the worst money I ever spent. And I'm like, you know what? I can't sell them because they're not going to bring jack crap. I might as well just use them and race them. So that's what I did. But that's exactly what's happening right now. What the Gen 3 Hemi is doing to the 318, 360.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon, what you'll find is, okay, if you start hoarding 318, 360 parts, eventually the market's going to dry up to where you're the guy, and everybody will come to you for parts. It may take 25, 30 years, but that's what's going to happen. That's what happened. My old man was the 455 Buick guy. Every time we went to the junkyard, he'd pull 2, 3 of them out of there and throw them in the bed of the truck. And there was piles and stacks of them at my house. And they stopped making them in 76. It wasn't until, I'll bet 99 or 2000 when they started getting kind of hard to find. And that's where people started clamoring and the prices went up, right? But they were $50 takeout motors for the longest time.
Yeah. There's actually really something good Bear Rose is saying here. He's saying that that's why I totally support the LS swap. So long as you sell me what's coming out. 10 years ago, Vortex were like $2,500 from the junkyard. Now they're only a couple $100. Exactly the truth. Absolutely the truth. Yep. In fact, I thought I was getting these 360s at $79 back in the day for like a steal when they were like half price days, because it would have that at least once a month down there at the wrecking yard when I would buy these Magnums. And then I was just hoarding them up. But now I don't even think that you can probably sell them for $79 nowadays. So yeah, that's why I think the recipe engine that I have is kind of relevant again. If you can find, a late 90s truck with a Magnum in it, throw my recipe on it and you got 450 horse,
So Dakota's timeout says something here at 8:00. I'm probably way behind, it looks like. He's saying that Transco kit is like $50. Removing a check ball is free. Let me tell you something about backwoods transmission hackery. Okay,
Exactly. That's
there is
wizardry.
a fuckload of those guys out there, the wizards walking around that tells you can do this or that or the other thing, change this piston, put in this valve, whatever. That transmission's been around since 1963. You don't think somebody's fucking thought of something that like would work? The reason why nobody has a free pull out your check ball thing is because when you free pull out the check ball, because you're pulling the valve body out, guaranteed you're going to be buying a fucking transmission afterwards, right? These guys, I'm telling you, man, that, and I'm not angry with you. I hate this transmission hackery. I don't know how many transmissions I tore up because somebody knew something that knew somebody about something that they worked at GM and were the brother's friend. And next thing you know, my training's laying on the ground, and that guy, he ain't handing me any cash for a new transmission.
Yep.
My shit's just junk.
Yeah,
And
especially on a 400, you got to be careful with those, man. You got to be careful with them.
they are robust, but they do not take fucking around lightly.
Yeah.
Like, they will screw you over. Like, have you ever, you want to know how finicky one is? Go just pull the vacuum line off the modulator, right? Just the vacuum line off the modulator. Like it got a bad hose on it or something. But man, I'm warning you right now. There's nothing simple and easy about that stuff. $50 is the best $50 you'll ever spend on Turbo 400.
Here's an actual case. So we have right now we're dealing with this. This is, if you look at those clutches, okay, so the clutches that are black, that is your direct clutches. The clutches in the foreground that look bitchin', those are your forward clutches. So the forward clutches are always applied. This is in a 400. And the whenever you're going forward, and those are your direct, that's your high gear clutch, right? So this was resulting in one of the check balls being not the right size. That's exactly what that was from. That was literally just not the right diameter. So it was allowing too much fluid to go down a passageway. And we just rebuilt that, and we're putting it back in the car, and we're going to be testing on Friday. So just be careful with that stuff. I'm not saying them all they're going to do that, but just the reason why I like Transgo is because they did their homework and they work, and they've been around for years. And I've installed hundreds of those kits and they just seem to work because they coincide with just the piston and the spring pressure on how it absorbs the pressure and moves the line pressure. So they work awesome. See if I'm
Catch up.
Yeah.
John Wilburn says, I heard transmission hackery and my ears started burning.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that you can will ruin a project is when you. I remember the first time I did something, the first hot rod I ever built. My friend worked at the GM dealership, and he took what did he take? Oh, the piston, the ply spring, and he changed the ply spring out and put a bolt in there the same length as the ply spring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, man, it shifted bitching like the first 2 times. After that, it didn't shift at all.
What transmission was this?
That was Turbo 350.
Oh, okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm
that's
like,
that's a big trick for that's a big trick for like 904 727s is the accumulator there. You just put a bolt in it, and it just gives it a more positive shift. So it just takes the shock out of the
when you have easily gradually working into it, it just slams it like bam.
That's right. And, exactly.
But yeah, it broke my tranny second shift, right?
So Vintage Adventure Drive says he's been contemplating building a 360. I have been making the satellite a bit more fun. If I can manage to snag an 8 3/4, then be more interesting in going bigger than the 318. Look, I'm telling you, man, a 360. I've got a recipe. I'll send it to you. I think John might have them. I did put them up there, and I told him, just throw them out there to people. It's a really simple thing to build. Now, these were built, did a lot of oiling mods. I've shown some videos on how I do those oiling mods, and they do work. And this is with a stock pump, so that way you're not wasting a whole bunch of pressure, horsepower just by spinning an oil pump. And they work good. And I've won a lot of races with those builds, because you put a 150 shot on top of 450, that's 600 horse, and in a car that's running 13s, Now that's an 11-second car, just like that. Yeah, yeah. Right. Hey, here's one for you right here. I've got the GT 40P on my. Yeah, go for it.
Fox 50, and I have a set of iron 3-bar industrial GT40 sitting in my basement.
It's perfect.
The P's, I think the P's actually make more power. That's what the P stands for, power, right? But it takes some funky header. The 3 bars I found out they're more available than what you think, right? Because I was always told they only came on like Cobras, like 93 Cobra, and then on Lightning. But no, I've found, I think, 3 or 4 sets of those 3-bar setups just on Explorers from 96 Explorers. They're quite readily available. And the neat thing is, a regular header will bolt right up to them.
Yeah, so I actually, one of my last videos, I was building the engine, the transmission for Plan Z. I took a 1/2-inch bolt. I used my drill and a grinder. That's my little personal lathe. I turned down the head, and then I made it 2.9 inches because I had to have one for the valve body that was in there from John Cope. So I had to make it a little shorter. So I just made my own one, and you can make them really simply. And I made it in like 3 minutes. So, and John Wilburn saying that if you email him, he'll send you those recipes because I remember I gave it to him.
Well, it looks like, dang, it's already been an hour and 12 minutes. It's flying by pretty quick.
It's a good one.
Let's see. Hey, but is John Cope showing up now? Because I had mentioned, like, don't be a transmission wizard.
Right. He's here.
Yeah, we're trying to steer people away from bad transmission advice.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And Cope's in here probably to cheer us on. So
right. Oh man. So John saying that whoever wants Professor P's recipes, just email him, john@princethendragway.com, and he'll send them to you because they're actually really simple. And there's even part numbers in there that you can, and the cam specs were literally just, it was now obviously at the time I was living at Crower and it was just a Crower cam, but you can take those specs and bring them to anything else because it's a pretty low lift, pretty decent duration. And it's only a 650 carb because remember, these are street cars. You could probably get more power with the 750, but it'd be a little less street friendly driving around. So, and I even put jets in there. I even tell you the timing. It's a really simple deal, and I've built many of them. Oh man, it's already.
Yeah, that's what I said. An hour and 12 minutes. It's flown by.
It's flown by.
Yeah,
but I'm going now. Here's the thing. I'm going to the track again now. I'm going to be honest with everybody here, and I'm just going to be real. I redid the suspension on the Cookie Monster. And I still haven't made a pass in the car, and we have less than a month. We've got 3 weeks before the No Name Nationals, and I was supposed to make a lap down the track on last Thursday, but I had a trans brake piston go out. So my first lap is going to be on Friday. So yeah, talking about getting down to the end, but
the wire.
Yeah. He says only a 650. Yes, it's a 650 Holley double pumper. I give you the part number in it, but that was for, remember, these were for street cars. These were all street racers, and they were running usually nitrous on this. So you could put a 750 on it, double pumper, and it would run just fine too. But these were like all Holley, like not the XP ones, but the actual really Holley double pumpers. Oh, here we go.
The difference that you're going to find when you have small enough, like, just double the cubic inches, and then that's if your carburetor is like, it should be around that number, right? Yeah. But 650 is the only thing that's going to happen. The difference between a 650 and a 750 is you're going to have higher velocity through the Venturi, and it's going to atomize fuel better. That's what I always thought was the best deal going.
And with the recipe engines, you're not RPMing them hard. They're like 6,200 RPM. So there was really no point in having the 750 because you're not really high in the RPM range. I think the top of the curve was 6,100 or 6,200 if I remember correctly. So there was really no reason for it.
Let's see. Dakota's timeout saying he's got an 800 Quadrajet from a 70s Trans Am on my stock 318. Seems to do good. Haven't driven much stuff. But the
Yeah.
QuadraJet's a little bit different because I always call it vacuum secondary, but it's actually technically an air valve secondary carburetor. And that secondary air door only is open enough to where it equalizes pressure, right? So you might only be getting 631 CFM out of that carburetor. You don't know. It's only going to feed it as much air as it can handle, but it's up to 800 CFM. I doubt it's using it all.
Yeah. But yeah, so Wilburn saying 21 days, 4 hours, 2 hours and 44 minutes, and so now it's probably 42 minutes. So, so there you go. Wow. Can you believe that the No Name Nationals is literally in 3 weeks? Literally 3 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. I guess I need to probably work on my Suburban. I haven't touched it since I think in April I took Buff to go get this parts car.
Yeah.
In Arkansas. I think that's about the last time it went anywhere.
And also too, you're going to start writing the E's for deep this time again. You're going to start now. So
I don't know. I actually got the carburetor somewhat sorted out now, and it's got dual exhaust on it. That's with an X pipe and stuff that Nick the Van Man did for me. So
yeah,
she's healthy, man. It runs good now, and I might add a little bit more fuel metering rod to it. So
good. Yeah. Deep. That was like the perfect thing. Deep. So awesome.
Deep. Yeah.
And did you put exclamation points at the end too?
I did. Yeah. I wanted to make sure they understood I was trying to go deep. Does
the VRS have any parts interchangeable with the Holley? When I start looking for the ramp truck, I want a carb. I can get parts for yes. Power valves are the same. Jets are the same. Some of the air bleeds are the same, but now in the metering block, they're going to be slightly different. But pretty much most of those. Now the gaskets, the bowl gasket does interchange, but the gasket that goes on the metering block to the body, that's different because it's a 4-circuit. So it's its own gasket there. I thought I had one laying here. No, I don't. They're their own animal for that. But other than that, they're pretty much everything kind of interchanges.
Let's see. Dylan Levi's asking about his ramp truck. Like, dude, you would have had a really good QuadraJet on that thing at that time.
Yeah.
Just saying. Really good one. Electric choke, adjustable part throttle. Really good one.
Here you go. Perfect. This is for you. This is your question of the day.
Go to saying, what's the backwards wizardry of making a low performance QuadraJet work good on a 550 horsepower 455? Can I remove a check ball or two? No, you cannot remove the check balls, but there is a wizardry thing that you could do to that. The problem with the QuadraJet is always vacuum, right? Because that power piston inside there moves the metering rods up and down based on vacuum, and it has full vacuum circuit. Okay. So the more vacuum that you have at idle or part throttle, the better that piston is able to manage fuel, right? Because it's moving the metering rods up and down as the piston's moving up and down. When you have something that's 550 horsepower, it's probably got a camshaft that's got like 250, 260 degrees duration at 50. And then it's probably on like a 108 center line, right? So, vacuum is not what you have a plethora of, and it won't run that power piston correctly. So what the guys in Stock Eliminator and Super Stock do is they're mandated they have to run those carburetors. So they pull the tops off, take the metering rods off, drop the jet sizes down to the size that it actually needs. Like, what you can do is you do the math to figure out the metered fuel. Okay.
So take the diameter of the rod out of the hole. Right.
Yep. And the jet's got to shrink up in size.
Yep.
Okay. So you can shrink the jet size to whatever is your metered fuel size with your jet and metering rod from the QuadraJet, because all it is you get a jet with a hole in it. The metering rod takes up space in there, and that metered area around there is what you're calculating. Well, so when you pull the metering rod out, just put a jet in it that has the same calculated area as the original jet and metering rod, and it will run better with that camshaft. The only issue is when you're looking at idle, she's going to be freaking pretty piggy at idle.
Idle it up. Idle it up. Turn it up to like 2,000 RPM, 1,700. Call it good.
But that's been a trick for a long time. Leave the power piston in there when you're done, because it just blocks off the vacuum port. But take the metering rods completely off of it.
Yeah. Danny Boy saying, everyone ever used Magnum heads on 340? Absolutely. In fact, I put Magnum heads on a 340 in California.
That would be a good combo.
Yeah, so basically it works just like a 30 over 360, because that's exactly kind of what it is. But RPM's high as far as the bore. So a 340's got a 4040 bore, a shorter stroke. So it RPMs to the moon, and it works really good, because especially on the Engine Quest heads. The Engine Quest heads, those 318 heads that they came out with, the stock replacement ones, they actually flow really good out of the factory. In fact, a lot of people are using them, and that's why one of my recipes has those. And I put them on a 340, and it really woke that thing up better than the 915 head. I think there was the 915J heads that were on it, and it made it run really good. And plus, I even put a hydraulic roller on it at that point, and basically built one of my recipe engines. It just ran a little higher in the RPM range than the 360, just because of the cubic inches, and also to the shorter stroke. So it just moved all the power curve up like couple hundred RPM, but about the same.
340 likes it though.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because it had the shorter stroke, so it was just moving everything up higher. So.
Yeah, but it still has that long rod. That's what's cool about it.
Yes, exactly.
The rod to stroke ratio gets really happy.
Yeah. All right, go for this one.
Carb, what's your thoughts for the best carb 2 or 4 barrel for mileage? Down leg design, ease of tuning, passive design. Let's see. And for 350 or smaller.
I like down legs.
I've had a couple of the GM 2 barrels, and I'm not impressed. I always got better mileage with the 4 barrel Quadrajet. Yeah. And I think it's because the primary is smaller.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I was going to say the same thing.
Man, I don't know. If it's 350 cubic inches or less, and you're talking about a carburetor with ease of buying it somewhere, dude, you cannot beat one of those Edelbrocks or Holly. They're everywhere. They're at every parts store.
AVS, just go and get yourself an AVS 600 CFM AVS. I'm telling you, that thing will bolt on there. I ran that forever on my Slant 6, and I loved it. It actually got better mileage, the 4 barrel did, because it made the holes were smaller in the front than the 2 barrel Holly, and it ran great. And when I floored it, the car took off. It was awesome. And they literally just come right out. They bolt right on, and they're really, the ease of tuning on those is really simple.
That's the thing I like about those Carter/Edelbrock carburetors. Man, those things are so easy to tune. And then the new Edelbrocks, instead of having that pain in the ass where you got to pull that power piston out, the metering rod, and all that stuff, and it's like, then you guys simplify that where it's like literally that door just slides out of the way, the whole thing pops out, you just put it back in and then slide that top over it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I think, I love my Q-Jets and all that, but man, I'm telling you, ease of rebuilding and finding parts, that is not a thing. You're not gonna, it's not 1991. So
yeah,
you're not gonna find stuff just laying around.
Cope Racing saying,
I would definitely,
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I would definitely just do one of those Edelbrocks or a Holly. Even the Hollies are notorious for bad gas mileage, and it's because the primary is generally the same size as the secondary.
Exactly.
Right? You want one that's got a smaller primary so that the velocity is really high, giving you good torque off the line as a daily driver.
And the thing too about the AVS, which is like the Edelbrock, the older ones, is that you can backfire on those all day long, and they're never going to blow out.
Power valve, yeah.
You'll never blow out the power valve. And second, there's no gasket below the fuel line. So what I mean by that is that the gasket is on top, so it never leaks. It never leaks fuel. So they can sit forever, and then you can pump some fuel into them and they work. The only bad thing about them is that the jets are at the very bottom. So if you get any trash in there, they're going to go right into the jet. So make sure you got a good filter on those, because they will get in there and they'll get into that jet. Just a heads up.
Well, Dylan Levi's saying his ramp truck is a 91, so it has EFI. But even better of an idea, you can easily put a quadrajet jet on that thing. You can probably get an intake manifold and a carburetor given to you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's a big block Chevy, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. So Vintage Venture Drives. Go ahead.
No, he says it's crazy to think that you guys are getting 650 Holleys for your projects. All I ever find around my area is 700, 750s, 850s. The 650 is something I never see. The 650 was not really like a lot of people didn't buy those. The 750s was the big ones.
Yep.
But the 650 came into its own about, I would have to say, mid to late 80s, because it was the perfect carburetor. The 650 double pumper was the perfect carburetor for the Ford 5-liter. And those things literally used to fly off the shelf at Western Auto and Craig and Schooks and all those other places during the late 80s, early 90s, because that was the ticket, was the 302 Ford. The Mustang 5-liter was everywhere. And if you didn't have a 5-liter Mustang, you had a Fairmont with a 5-liter swapped in, or Mercury with a 5-liter swapped in it. That was the ticket.
I think why I saw so many of them is that they were on all the jet boats. So like people would go and get these like Oldsmobile 455s, and they would have a 650 because they would have like an A impeller on them, so it was not over 4,500 RPM, and they would have a 650 Holley on them, and they were so plentiful in Southern California, probably for that reason. But the reason why I like the 650s is because I could drive it all week, and then I can go and street race it, and I'm only giving up on the very, very tip top, but I'm keeping all the meat and potatoes in the middle, as far as the mid-range power.
I think that's probably what made the 650 such a big commodity on 5-liter Ford stuff, was you could drive them on a regular day basis, and then you can hammer them with a bunch of nitrous. They didn't rev over like 5,200 or something.
Yeah.
So you really didn't need that much of a carburetor. But also the trick used to be on tow rigs. If you took like the Quadrajet off or the Thermoquad, put that small 650 Holley on it, and the port velocity was so high, it gave you like instant throttle response on those on a tow rig.
Yeah. Now,
and the 4-wheel drive trucks used to have them too, lots of them.
And on the dyno, I'm going to be very, very clear on this. On the dyno, the 750s did make more power, but that's under one condition: full throttle on the very top end of the power curve. But rarely are you there. That's only like in a very specific, most of the street racing, you're kind of, at the end, there was no pimp juice, there was no glue, there was nothing. You're kind of just rolling it out. And then once I was hitting the nitrous, usually in the top, like basically second gear, because that's the only time I actually
as soon as you dropped it, as soon as it shifted into second, you hammer it.
Yeah, you hammer it. And then that 650 was I could drive it to wherever I needed to go. The 750 I would load up plugs, and then I would be having backfires. It just, for me at the 650, it just worked better. Now, if I was at the drag strip, it definitely would have a 750 on it, because that would just be, it would make more power, but I was street racing a lot. So that's why I had 650. And plus, sometimes I had to drive like almost 20 miles to get to the track.
Well, here's an interesting thing that we had just talked about the other day, and I'm probably way behind. Danny Boyd saying, what about a 318 crank and a 360 to make it almost 340?
Yes, you got to have spacers because they have different bearing diameters. There was a company that did this for a while, and they made spacers so you could put, like, say, a 340 crank and a 360 or whatever. I don't think they do that anymore, and they were kind of notorious for kind of spinning if you didn't do it right. Because it literally was just a spacer you put in there. And also too, and I like, see, the 360 is a little different as far as the main caps. They're a little wider, a little taller, and the caps are bigger. They're farther out. Now the main bearings are bigger, but because you have farther out on the caps, it gives it a little bit more rigidity because they're farther out. The 318s were just a little farther in and a little smaller.
And it gives them more leverage on the bolts.
Yeah. So yes, no, that was the thing. But the main bearings are different. But there was I still have a set of those spacers. And I even told Dallas, it's like, I remember buying a set of those spacers. I remember buying two. I got to find them because I have a set of those things. And I don't think anyone makes them anymore, but yeah, that was a thing.
Bearing spacers were always like a no bueno thing back when we were building stuff in the 90s. Like, nope, you never did bearing spacers. That was like a no-no, right? But come to find out, there's a lot of people who use them. If I was to use them, I would probably do it like they do the Top Fuel stuff, right? They have aluminum rods, and in their aluminum rods, they got to put a bearing in them, right? But the rod is so soft that the bearing is easy to spin in them. So they got a dowel pin in them that holds that bearing in place. And that's probably how I would run a bearing spacer. Is I'd probably drill a small hole through it and into the block and put a roll pin in that thing and then sink it down in there like 1/8 of an inch below the surface of the bearing saddle.
Yeah, I think that's no, I haven't seen them in a while, but I think that's what you did is you had to put a hole in the cap. So on the cap side, there was a little place where you put a dowel and it would hold that end of it so that way it wouldn't walk on the other side. But I'm not sure.
Cap side. I'd never drilled the cap side.
Yeah, I think it was huh?
That's where all the stress is at.
Yeah, I think there's where you put the dowel at because there's nowhere to put it on the other side because that's where the oil holes came in.
It just needs a dowel in the 360-degree circle.
Yeah. Right? So there's.
But I guess you're right. I don't know. Like, I haven't looked at a Mopar. I know that some of those have that big wide groove where you just put the bearing in and the oil comes up through the hole, or it might have a groove in the bearing.
Yeah, it's got an oil that kind of comes in like this, and then the one that goes here, and then the number one's got 3 points that come in. So
wow, weird.
Yeah, because it's coming in the main feed, then it's going up to the cam, then it's also feeding the
okay. I see. It's using that slot to transfer oil around the rest of the block.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's how it comes in too. Is it all comes down the passenger side from the main galley, and then it goes straight up to the cam, and that's how it oils the cam. So, Clayton's Toolbox is saying something here.
I was actually just going to address this. Yeah. Go ahead, Jane.
A possible idea, a video on how to take weight off of your car would be great. And Plan Z would be the perfect as an example. Look, I'm telling you, it is not perfect because I'm having to fix a lot of the bullshit.
I was just going to say something like the polar opposite. Well, not the polar opposite. It is not a good idea to do Plan Z because it doesn't have any weight left on it to take off.
Right.
There's nothing left to take off. I mean, it literally has like kitchen door hinge holding the trunk lid on.
Right there. Those are hinges. Yep, and it's got pins. There's a pin that goes right there in that little thing. And that's how the trunk stays on. And that is the sheet. That's the skin. There's nothing else left. That is the skin. So and even in the doors, like me and Dallas are going to be driving in this car, and same with my brother's going to be trading out. We're going to be carpooling with everyone. That you can sit in. When I was doing the brakes, I looked in and I can see right into the door because there's nothing there. So if there's any water, it's coming inside the cab through the doors because all the holes have been drilled out there. So I'm probably going to,
especially if it rains, it's going to be miserable.
It's going to be miserable. In fact, I might even put a little piece of sheet metal in there just to keep that. But then in the back here, if you look right there, that little area right there, I can see right into the cab from that. So when you do a burnout, the whole cab's going to fill up because
the whole burnout's going to be inside the cab.
It's going to be inside the cab. So it's like just everything. There's just holes everywhere, and it's all been cut out. So it's not the example you want. There's better examples of like this would be what not to do. You know what I mean? This is
so. Dakota's timeout 2 down from that, saying that one of them Edelbrock RPM quader jets, might they be better with a big cam engine? No, they're actually worse. They got the M rods in them, which came in the later trucks. It's like worst idea ever. Trust me, just taking the metering rods out and then jet it down to the correct size, and you'll probably be within the ballpark. Let's see, Danny Boyd saying Edelbrock has got to be superior to the Rochester just because it has 50 plus years more technology on it. Not really, because it's literally 20 years older than the Quadrajet, right? Yeah. It's a Carter carburetor that came on like everything in the 50s and 60s.
It was just it really what it is that it's such a simple design and how well it works. It's great because it works so well for what it is, but expanding upon that, that's where it's limited, and that's the whole reason for the VRS is because you were like kind of limited on performance, but as far as streetcar, it was great.
Well, have I ever told you the 75% rule? Okay, how I do things, like the
Hmm.
75% rule. I don't. Maybe I have, or maybe I haven't. I don't know. Okay, the easiest way to explain the 75% rule is this: if you're going after, like, let's say you're going to do pro stock, are you going to
Hmm.
be able to ever afford to do a pro stock car?
No.
No, but you can do the 75% rule, right? And that's where you try to get 75% of what a pro stock car does in an affordable package,
Okay.
right? So that's the way I apply everything to my life. So think of it like this. If you're going to, let's see, you're going to go target shooting,
Hmm.
you're wanting to shoot dead center every time and just get the highest score possible to be the best target shooter there is, right? Okay. So if you have, let's say, just a 22 rifle and you're going to shoot the dead center of the target every time, you might get, I don't know, 20 or 30% of the shots dead center in the target every time.
Hmm.
But you go get a 12 gauge shotgun with birdshot in it and you shoot that same target. Now you hit it a hell of a lot of times in the center. That's a
Right.
75% rule, right?
Perfect.
And that's how I apply everything. Like, man, I know I can't be the best at this, but I can be gangbusters at 75%,
Yeah.
right? So,
So this is actually the whole point of why we did this. He says, quick one here, is the Triple Crown heads up or more like brackets? No, it's a heads up class. And that's why it's fun, is because it's going to be heads up and it's going to be,
first to the
like
finish line.
first to the finish line. And we're going to show times, or we might as well show times, right? Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
it don't matter. I
It
mean, the
doesn't
cars
matter.
aren't going to be super duper fast. The
Yeah.
class is so limited, there isn't going to be anything in there that's going to absolutely just come out and hammer everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if I'm getting down to any. Barrow saying, I love the Avis 2 Edelbrock, but up here in the frozen high desert of Idaho, I actually prefer the Performer, only because the Performer has a separate fast auto linkage, and the VS is tied to the choke. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, I personally love the Performer. I love the AVS over the AVS 2. Just my opinion in my Slant 6, because I didn't ever had enough vacuum to actuate those doors and actually tune them. So with the AVS, since it was untunable, it would basically stay closed and it would just slowly open when it needed it, and it just seemed to work better. So, but yeah. Oh, here you go. Even my dad's spreadbore Holly double pumper was a killer sound on his 383 Chevy. Wow, boom!
Yeah, that's the spread board, man. That's the gates of hell is what I call it.
Hey, look who's in here, Mr. Tony's Hot Rod Garage.
Man, this guy's been missing in action,
I
hasn't
know.
he?
Talk about MIA, man. What's up, dude? And if you guys don't know, he has a company called Gunslinger
Graphics.
Graphics. And if you want any of our shirts, there's a lot of us. Go to Gunslinger Graphics, check it out. There's a lot of us. He prints all of our shirts for us, so go check him out. He used to do lives. So yeah, you should do it again. Because they were fun. Tony's saying, why not offset grind a 360 crank? Because you have to offset grind it so much. And you're going to go through some of the hardness. And also, too, when you're offset grinding them to de-stroke them, you're moving the oil hole. So where the oil hole comes through the main and goes to the rod, it's typically right at that area. When you de-stroke it, that rod, that oil hole is going to get closer and closer to the edge. Typically, when you stroke them or when you change the bearing size, you add a little stroke to them, so that way you don't change that timing. You can do it, but it's a lot of work, and that's the reason why they made the spacers for that.
This time out saying that roll pin for a bearing spacer sounds like wizardry.
It is. It
Plan
kind of is.
Z is wizardry. That's what he's saying.
Oh, it is absolutely wizard, 100%. And I'm trying to take some of that out of it. And I mean, I'm telling you, if you see some of the stuff I put on here, we're going to see how much weight I've added to it when I put this cage in this weekend, but the safety level is through the roof compared to what it was. So, right.
Oh, I don't know. Like, who says Dakota's timeout said that it's being a little sarcastic, I reckon, because they're against wizardry and I fully embrace it. I'm not against wizardry. There's some wizardry things that you can do that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Bonamini down the carburetor to get the rings to reseat. But I'm telling you, there's certain things that you wizard and there's certain things you just don't fuck around with. And that is like just taking your tranny parts out, throwing them on the ground, and then put half-ass shit back in it and watch it blow up. Because the transmission costs you just as much as like an engine build, right?
Yeah. Danny Boyd saying that you need to add OEM rear wheel openings to Plan Z. I can't believe Tony cut those. Look, man, I'm with you on this, but here's the thing. The car is going to be just the way it is from now on because this is what it's known as. And to put them back in at this point, I've seen how much rust is in this car. You'll never get it to weld back together. I'm literally just going to leave it alone.
Junkyard D is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh, go ahead, bud.
Junkyard D at 837 saying, can you give me the process on adjusting valves 20 thousandths off the bottom again?
Yes. Actually, before I'll tell you, but Two Hacks Garage did a video on this on how to do it. But basically, what you're going to do is bleed all the pressure out of it. So you got to bleed all the oil out of the lifter. So typically, what I tell people to do is put it on the opening stroke, and it's going to take it a while, but it will bleed it all the way down. Then you roll it over to the base circle, and then what you do is you take up all the lash, so that way it comes down to the bottom, and then come up and then put a feeler gauge, a 20 thousandths feeler gauge between the rocker arm and the tip, and then you're basically just setting the lash right there, right? Or actually, it would be 30 because I will put 20 inside there if it's a 1.5 rocker arm, and it's literally that simple. And the point of that is so that way at high RPM it doesn't bleed out. And people say that it doesn't work, and I'm going to tell you right now. I have a green car out there. It's called the Lizard King, and it's got a set of DLC lifters in it. And I set those up 40 off the bottom. That's got those lifters have got 150 thousandths of travel. They're 40 off the bottom, so it's 110 thousandths of preload. I drive that car everywhere, not a tick of noise, no problems at all. So, but go and see Two Hacks Garage. He did a whole video on it, and I actually was on the phone with him for a couple hours as he was doing it because he wanted to make sure he was saying it right. So he does it step by step. Andy's saying VRS and fuck the world. Clark has been in 2 finals since putting it on.
He's saying for the win.
No. Is he saying that?
That's what it said. FTW means for the win.
Not fuck the world?
Correct.
I was always saying fuck the world, right? Okay, for the win. Okay, for the win. And if you don't know what Clark is, Micah drives Clark. It's a Ford.
I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom. Hold on the Ford.
It's a station wagon. It's a Ford. I believe it's a Ford, and it's got a mod engine in it, and and a VRS on it, and a small little shot of nitrous. So it's pretty awesome, and it's I think it's a 630 car or 630 class that he runs. So it's really good. Go check it out. So Barrow's saying I go with all the old guys that told me about carbs, and it holds rock solid. Street car equals Edelbrock Carter, all out race car, trailer track, Holly. Both are good and both are bad. Yes, I agree. Here's the thing: is that I was on the street. And I was running a lot of nitrous, 250 shots. So I ran the Holly because at that time there wasn't an Edelbrock that could keep up with that amount volume of fuel. Vintage Adventure drives saying that his car ran a 923 in the 8th when they had it at the track. Well, that's awesome. That's going. Dust Devil saying, is Triple Crown going to be instant green? No, it's going to be a Pro Tree. So that way everybody has a chance. The only reason why we did the instant green and the 28-10-50 class is because there was no way that Dallas and I were going to be able to run with those guys if we didn't have a way to leave on them. So that's the real whole reason for the instant green in that class. But no, it's going to be a pro tree.
Wow, I'm trying to open the Triple Crown rules because there's some questions here.
Yeah, no,
Industrial Garage is asking, is Triple Crown going to be an instant green?
Yeah, I said no. That's what I was just saying.
I'm sorry. I was actually looking at it because I was going to pull it up, and it's supposed to be a pro tree.
Yeah, it's a pro tree. It's going to be a 4/10 tree. So that way everybody's got a chance to race, and it wouldn't be like when Dallas left on what was the guy's name? Yeah, Yielding. He literally, I mean, in any other race, if that guy didn't have like 1,000+ horsepower, that race was won on the starting line 100%, right? So
yeah, if that car didn't have covered by like a second and a half,
right?
I would have ate his lunch, and he would have been really upset he was going home that early. But that's just. I think what was funny is none of them other guys caught on to that.
Right. That's true. Yeah, they didn't catch on to it. Mean Street Mopar saying, Professor B, my 360 is getting a Mopar Performance Magnum RT head, single plane intake, and a quick fill 650 double pumper. The cam is an XE68. Is that a good combo for Triple Crown? I don't know what the cam specs on the XE68 is. Give me a second. XE268 cam specs. Give me 1 second here.
Well, did you address Levi's backyard performance? Saying that my guess is the Triple Crown class will be in the high 7s, in the 8th, maybe even 8s, especially the first year. That's kind of where we figured it would fall, somewhere around there. Like, I think the fastest that you could possibly get it to, just like kind of ballpark them, would be about 740s.
And we're hoping for no cages and that kind of stuff. Yeah. A 268 cam, if I'm reading this right, that's 224 on a 230 on a 110. Okay. That would be on the very low end of it, but it would actually give it a really good. I would be probably in the 230. The camshaft that's in my recipe engine, I think it was 234, 248 on a 108. For something that's going to make in the 450 horse, you're going to need something like that for what you got. But that what you have would be a good combination for the first year. I would say have at it and leave it alone. If that's what you got, then run it. And also too, this is we're kind of seeing where everybody falls into this. Oh, so yeah. Buffalo Campbell says FTL was what Shane said if you're riding a Harley. Right. So Vintage Adventure, I have been on a Pro Tree since my very first time at the track when I was 17. Look, then you can get up there, and when you're on Friday, there's gonna be an open run class. Go up there and just put PT on your window and get some practice on it. It's just a 410. They flash and go.
Yeah, but the thing you got to remember is nobody else has been on that Pro Tree either.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's going to be horrible lights. I'm sure of it.
And that's the main reason why, I'm not running in this class this year, is because Dallas and I both have a lot of experience with this style of racing, and we want everybody to have fun with it. And the first year, let you guys just run with it. I
mean, if we slowed it down and did a heads up tree on a 5/10 tree, you guys would probably murder it, and like it wouldn't be fun. You want this tree to surprise you because you want some left on the tree. You want some, because the cars aren't going to be 100% paired up. I mean, gosh, your 318 is probably going to make 320, 350 horse, while somebody else is going to show up with a combo that's making 450 horse, and about the same cubic inch. You leave some on the tree so it takes up some of the slack.
Yeah. Dust Devil says, Shane, can you run hybrid pistons on your engine if you don't run power outages? Look, my recipe engines have hyperutenic pistons in them, and literally gives you the part number for them. I think they were the Keith Black hyperutenic. I think they were the 113 numbers that came with pistons and rings at one time. So yeah, in fact, look, I ran hyperutenic pistons on all the way up to a safely to 150 shot of nitrous. Don't recommend it. It's got to have a great tune-up, but it will do it. Believe me, I know. I did it for years.
Let's see.
Did I skip over any of them here?
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up right now.
Yeah. If you see one, just they were coming in faster for a little bit because we're only got like 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
It's been fast. But yeah, Triple Crown's going to be awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to this, for real. I'm really looking forward to this. I think you guys are going to have it's going to get you guys really, really hot and heavy on the heads up racing, because that's really where it's at. I got to tell you, there's bracket racing is fun and whatnot, but when you're heads up and you're literally looking at the guy, each other, as you're going down the track and your cars are going this fast from each other.
Like, you're just trying to, and you get your foot, like you're denting the floorboard. You're pushing on so hard.
In fact, the one car that I was raced, I raced him so many times, Greg Curtis in that gray Camaro. Yeah. We must have match raced 5 times. And he had a big block, so I was out on him. But man, when that big block would start digging in, he would mile an hour me by about a mile and a half, right? But he's in there, and we're doing 100 miles an hour now, right? And he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and I see him scooching the seat like this, trying to and laughing because he just can't catch it, So it's fun.
So Vintage Adventure Drives, I just remember the number thing. When will we get our race numbers? You get those when you pull into No Name Nationals. John will be handing out your numbers.
Yeah, and if you're already signed up, you can actually request a number that's not already been taken. I mean, you can ask for that. I'm pretty sure. And then people who register, I think before Memorial Day, get to keep the same number. And happenstance, this is absolute happenstance. The first year I went to No Name Nationals, my number was 69. I swear to you, it's on the wall. I have every year that's up there, and so I showed up in the 69 car, my green car. So I've had the same number every year. In fact, the 69 is still on my dart from last year, and I'm just going to leave it on there. Unless the color change, but it's the same number.
Let's see. What was I just looking at? I was looking at something here. Tom Brown says, do the emulsion tubes on an ABS change the whole fuel curve, or only the tip-in on secondaries?
No, because they have 2 stages on them. You have the tip, and then you have the length of the shaft that actually goes to the next size. Now, those are all set up, but you do have a change from one to the next. In fact, I did a bunch of videos when I was tuning these. I did the area of each of the jet on the little end and on the big end, and I gave it a number. I just basically did pi r squared, right? And then I would do the same thing on the jet. So then I would take the area of one, subtract it from the other, and then I would do that to the next step, and that would tell me if it's how many percentage change it was on power and on the next one. And the bags I still have, and they're numbered. So yeah, if you do that, and also too, if you get one of our books when you buy the carburetor, it tells you where it comes and then what setup will bring the power. If you want a little bit more power, more fuel on power, but you want to have a little lean on cruise, it'll tell you exactly how to get that combination right there. And it tells you what
step on the emulsion tube, like a Q-Jet. I imagine it's probably very similar on the Edelbrock or the Carter. It was dependent upon the float height, because it would fill the bowl, right? And then emulsion tube would get filled to a certain point, and then it would drop down as you use fuel. It would drop down and get to the narrower part.
Oh, he's talking about the emulsion tube, not the metering rods. I'm sorry, I'm totally messed up on that one. That does make a difference. On the AVS, it does. It makes a huge difference. In fact, if you go over to what was it, Muscle Car Solutions, he did a whole thing on these emulsion tubes that basically are on the actual Venturi that you bolt onto the AVS. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. Big difference.
I think float level changes that quite a bit too, because one, it adds head pressure, but the other one is it has a certain point at which it changes the curve, because the fuel level will drop and get to that narrow point of the emulsion tube. and then fuel at that point, fuel is just pouring in, right,
Yeah.
to maintain that level.
Tony's saying that there's no replacement for displacement. Actually, turbo is the replacement for displacement. Dust Devil saying, did Magnums have hyper pistons from the factory? I believe they did, but they were dished. And so the reason why I changed the pistons is because I was trying to raise the compression on those. But yeah, they did.
Plus, the closer you can get to a flat top, the more power it makes.
He's saying, is Muscle Car Solution Eric Jackson? No, that he was in here earlier. It is I call him Mr. Wilson. He's the guy. He's the guy behind the fence that you only see his top eyes. No, it's Mr. Wilson.
Junkyard D is asking, will there be some time trial runs on the Pro Tree before Triple Crown starts? Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, I think on Friday I'll go up there and talk into the tower, and then I'll just bring some of the guys out, and practice on the Triple Crown, and then also too, they'll kind of give us a gauge of where people are running as far as time wise. And if you don't want to have your time shown, I won't show them.
Dude, you better do it fairly early because Friday night's when they do the burnout contest, and they're going to block the track off.
Friday morning is what I'm saying. Get in there off the bat. Yeah, because we're going to be doing on Friday morning. We're going to be first to the fives.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Thursday night's when we do the burnout contest, isn't it?
No, Friday night. Thursday night's when we do the flash. We go to Lambert's on Thursday night.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. So I was correct.
Yeah. Andy's out of here. So
all right,
take it easy.
night, buddy.
Yeah, good night. Well, man, we got down to 3 minutes here. You got anything coming up you want to talk about?
No, I just been working on my 63 Buick, all the stuff that I didn't videotape anything or record. God, that dates me when I say videotape. I didn't record anything because who wants to watch me just fab and replace sheet metal? I haven't got to anything good yet. So I'll get to something good though. Here pretty soon there'll be some new 63 Buick videos coming out.
Yeah, for me, I got a lot planned. Cage, I'm going to be doing some wiring, and I'm going to try to get this thing actually into a car-ish mode. So that way I can slap together an engine, drop it in, and I can actually try to start taking some laps here in this thing. But other than that, that's the only video. And then I'm going to be making some videos of this Friday night. I'm going to be out there doing some testing with the Cookie Monster, trying to get it down the track in lieu of No Name Nationals. So
sounds good.
Yeah. Dr. Go is asking, if I read the rules, will it educate me on the Triple Crown conversation? Yes. I believe they're over there at
they're on the No Name Nationals webpage.
Yeah, go check them out. So I know what you meant. That's why I said conversation. I know what you're trying to say. Because he goes, conversation is what I meant to say. So man, this is 2 hours went by fast.
I know, but I'm glad I'm actually running out of gas right now. I'm having a hard time at the moment.
Right. Tony's saying, you guys mentioned my lives. We'll be having 3-day live streams this weekend at Slant Daily. Oh, awesome. Well, good. That sounds amazing. Oh, hey, speaking of that, you're going to be there Wednesday, right? At No Name Nationals?
Tony or me?
You, yeah.
Me, I'm coming by your place, right?
Yeah, because I'm leaving Wednesday.
Oh, well, then I'll be probably coming by early, like Tuesday or something. I don't have my kids that week.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to be leaving Tuesday at about Thursday at about nooner or something. I want to get out of Memphis before all the idiots get on the road and get going north. So,
all right, piece of cake.
Yeah, and then
like 10 in the morning. That's the ideal time.
And then you know what we'll do is we'll try to do a live from there. Maybe if I can get my phone to work while I'm there, and maybe we can do
Nationals.
Yeah, let's do
it every year. But I think it might be beneficial just to actually do one.
Yeah, let's do it this year. Why not?
Or from Lambert's or something. Yeah, we need to do something. There's never enough video of the No Name Nationals.
Yeah,
that's what I found. So.
Well, anyways, guys, we're getting up to the 2-hour mark, and once again, go and see Buff Del Campo on Tuesday nights, go see Mr. John Wilburn on his channel on 7 Central. And obviously, he is the bringer of the No Name Nationals. And then hopefully, Tony will start doing his lives again so we can plug them. And whoever's doing lives, let us know here and we'll plug you too, man.
Oh, Tony's saying he'll be there in Sykeston on Tuesday.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, he's got a long drive. He's coming from,
Arizona.
Right? Yeah, he's coming from that's a long drive. He's basically getting on 40 and going all the way across,
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next Wednesday then.
All right. You guys take it easy and have a good week.
See you.